Hello everyone. Apologies for the delay. We've had our typical login issues. Um, Welcome to the Bahrain Grand Prix for this Division 4. It is just me all on my own today. My name is Ashley, otherwise known as Origin Gamma, and we are live for this 18-minute qualifying session around the Bahrain International Circuit. 15 corners, 3.3 miles, a 29-lap race in the desert. The only track that is built in a desert, for all you know. But we've got a championship battle to contest, to still continue with. And currently, at the moment, Catastrophic leads this championship by 36 points. Alpine lead the Constructors' Championship by 32 points, so a lot to play for across this track. I believe, is this the only night race? Yes, it is. It must be the only night race we've had, given that the only other one is Abu Dhabi and Singapore, and I don't believe we've raced there just yet. The night sky will mean that the track temperatures will be significantly dropped, so tyre warm-up will be a big thing for these cars as we head into this qualifying to determine who will take pole position for this Bahrain Grand Prix. And of course, the big question is, what tyres will everybody be starting on? Because of course, 18 minutes, you get the top 10 will start on the tyres that they set their best lap on. So, a couple already trying the mediums. We see Greenwell, Scarlo, and looks like Luke 14 Knock might be trying mediums, although he hasn't exited the pits just yet. But a couple already trying the medium tyres. So it'll be interesting to see how much tyre warm-up they will get on these tyres. Williams, who was set for a pretty decent score of points in Azerbaijan, sadly yet to score any points this season. Whitson's retired from the last two Grand Prix, as it so happens, so it will be interesting to see just how this goes. Right then, Greenwell, have I put Division 3? Apologies. Thank you very much for pointing that out. That's much appreciated. That should be Division 4. So, I don't know if Knight's in there, if he can change that or not. That's apologies. If someone can change, someone let Knight know. I will do that. It's what happens on a Sunday evening. One of these days. Sorry about that, but this is Division 4. Ignore. I'm going to clarify as well. This is Division 4, but oh dear, this is what happens when it's me on my own. I don't have anybody to to keep this in check. So apologies. Right then, let's keep an eye out then on Greenwell Army. I missed out what his first sector was. Unfortunately, this is a bit caught up. You can see there 108.1. Of course, he'll be the first one to complete a flying lap, so he'll be setting the benchmark, presuming, of course, that doesn't invalidate in these last few corners, which is possible. As he comes through fairly cautiously, doesn't take too much of the curb. DRS open, and it's a 1:30.3 the first lap, which is very much beaten by Victor, who goes a full 2.5 seconds quicker. And you can see Rusty Oil Can 29.0. So you can see the medium tyres not up to optimum temperature or grip yet. Let's watch then Philip Marshall. We'll get a yellow flag in that is John BFC, who smashes the advertising board. That is down in turn 13 and into turn 14. So that's whether he'll pit again or he may need to recharge the battery. We shall see. Right then, let's watch Scarlo then, see what his medium tyre time is. You can see Luke 14 also coming out on the medium compound tyres as well. I've also put round 4. That's absolutely not what it is either. The title needs a bit of work. Right, Scarlo 28.4 in the first sector. I wonder if these first laps potentially are just... You're not going to see the optimum time of these medium runners. I believe... because, of course, they'll need to warm up the tyres more or less. So, we'll see what this time is. We'll see what Scarlo's time is in comparison to Greenwell. Meanwhile, his teammate Catastrophic has just gone third fastest with a 28.1. As Victor does improve to do a 27.2. So, 8 tenths clear of the field for the time being. A 106.5 there for Scarlo. That's significantly quicker than what Greenwell did. As he comes down the back straight into turn 15. Will break roughly near to the 100-metre board, or as close to it as possible. And again, they're not attacking the curbs as much as you normally see them do. Scarlo goes 5th fastest, almost 1.8. Oh, sorry, no, 1.9 seconds quicker. I was right the first time. So the medium runners have not got a whole lot of pace in them for the time being. Scarlo, that was Scarlo's second lap, so he invalidated the first one. So let's see what Luke 14 Knock does in comparison. Although I think he is recharging because you can see the light is harvesting electric. So let's watch Whitson then. Whitson coming across. I have DM Knight to see if I can change the title of this. Once again, a massive apologies for that. This is Division 4, just to clarify. Don't know why the title didn't change. I thought I changed it, but apparently not. You know, it is what it is. Alright. Coming then into the tricky element of turn 10. Very easy to lock your brakes here if you're not running ABS. It takes that very nicely. We've got a car having an incident. That is Sinful, who spun on the exit of turn 8. Let's go back onto Whitson. I think Sinful's had another moment in the hairpin. Whitson then through the middle sector. You can see purple there, middle sector, but this game you can never tell if that's a legitimate fastest sector, but Whitson is a naturally very quick driver anyway, so wouldn't be surprised. But let's see where his time is as he comes across the line. Goes second fastest, 1:27.7, so still a half a second down off the Alpine at the moment, so Victor's sitting pretty comfortably at the moment. Sinful, I think, as we saw, had a couple of spins, so don't think he's on a quick lap at the moment. Luke 14 Knock is still not set a lap time just yet. We did see him initially on his medium run, but you saw his battery, he was harvesting battery power, so wasn't pushing. This one does look like a push lap though. Sinful does a 150.7. That's a little bit more understandable, given that he had his 2 spins. I'm sure there's plenty of time. And speaking of spins, and well, that's a spin for the Haas driver. Luke 14 Knock out of this race, and inheriting the Haas heritage of spins, it seems. And that's our first loss in this qualifying session. John B. CFC, that's medium tyres for him. Yeah, Luke 14 Knock just took a little bit too much speed, and the back end was having none of it. So, huge shame for the Haas driver. Starts 14th this race with a little bit of ground to make up, but overtaking can be done here, and John BCFC really struggling for grip on exit there, just had no traction on the exit there of turn 9 as he headed in. Or is that turn 8? Is it turn 8? No, turn 8 is the hairpin. I know my corners. So don't expect this to be a significantly quick lap from the Ferrari driver here, because he did have a couple of traction moments, but there's still plenty of time to find, especially since he is on the medium tyres, but looks like struggling a bit with rear stability, it seems. So a little bit more time to find on this next few runs. 8 minutes left to go. Across this 15 corner track. And what time then will John BCFC post? Go second fastest. Okay, ignore me. That was still significantly quick. That's on medium tyres as well, which is interesting, but... Or is it? Is that medium? That's a very quick lap time from medium tyres. Fair play. But still, there's definitely more time to find there for sure, which is interesting. Someone's had another moment. That's a Red Bull, and that looks like Sinful again. And for the second time, he spins on that hairpin into turn 8. He has improved on his lap time. He's done a 1:29.6. That's still not incredibly competitive, and lets the Aston Martin then of Michael Flores through. Still 2 drivers yet to set a lap. Well, technically 3. As, well, we have it. One is retired. Here's the championship leader. Trying to improve on his lap time. Again, they say purple middle sector, but I think every lap so far has had a purple middle sector. So I have to take that with a pinch of salt. But what can the Alfa Romeo driver do? He comes to the line, goes second fastest. Victor's in a class of his own at the moment. That 27.2, I mean, they are catching it slowly but surely. But they're not getting close. Well, they're 3 tenths away. That's the moment. That, I think, is a Red Bull. I think that might be Sinful again, and it is. It's on the final. It's on the final corner. So Sinful having major issues at the moment. Let's watch Flores then, the Aston Martin. Goes a bit wide into turn 3. And can take a bit of curb. And there's the Alfa Romeo. Scarlo's decided to respond on Victor's time. Does a 1:26.8. So let's see what Victor does in response to that. It's a good lap by Scarlo. So 26.8. Could we see a mid 26 then as the fastest lap? We'll see. Let's see what Victor can do in response to Scarlo here. Alfa Romeo looking very strong at the moment, first and third. So let's see what Victor's first sector is, and it's slightly down. A couple of hundredths there. Yeah, a couple of hundredths. I know what I'm doing. Don't second guess yourself, Gamma. But not improving so much. You'll see the times start to drop as the track rubbers in, which will be significant in this race as well, because the undercut is super powerful here, and I think that's another Red Bull, but that's not Sinful this time. That is Fallen Monkeys, who's had a moment on the exit of turn 3. And I missed what Victor's middle sector was. So many things to look at. It'd be easy if there was someone else, but it's little me on my own. But Victor then, as he comes across, the start, finish straight, and it's a 26.9, so just a tenth back. So that's what, a 3/10 improvement on his lap, which is interesting. Marshall's gone almost 800ths quicker on his in the first sector. Navigates through the tricky turn 10, not so confident through there. We've lost John BFC, but I think he's retired in the pits, so he wants to start on those medium compound tyres in comparison to the soft tyres. Be interesting the tyre strategies with that. But if he does start on mediums, you could expect a potential one-stop strategy here. Marshall's not improving so much and goes a little too deep into turn 14. Didn't have the grip to ring the car through. Final corner there, misses the apex, so Not the tidiest lap here from Marshall, but not a bad one either. Cross the line doesn't improve, misses out by 6 tenths, so lost a lot of time in that middle sector. Hartman's still the only driver to pull up here, and see the gap between top two just almost a tenth, a further 6 tenths back from the remainder of the field. Right, then who should we keep an eye on for? Is Victor on another lap? I do not think so. That is a recharge lap if I've ever seen one. Purple on one sector for first time, still, well, too bad, still in 12th. Yeah, it looks like a 130.2, but, so, gravel trap down in 12th for McLaren, who is in the chat. Let's see who to keep an eye out on. Philip Marshall on another lap, potentially. Looks like, well, he's not harvesting electric again. And that's a much better improvement than from Marshall. Goes 3 tenths quicker in the middle sector. Let's see then where he can move his way up. His 3 tenths. That might be within the top 4 potentially. And crosses the line again. Doesn't improve. Well, improves, but not so much. And again, it's the final sector where he's losing all that time. So, as Greenwell Army goes third fastest for Williams, Williams are desperate for a good result this in this race, or at least the next few seasons. They've missed out on a couple of points opportunities. Scarlet then, we've got a minute to go, so the last final few laps are on their way. It's been a very quick 18 minutes, to be honest. Here then comes the Alfa Romeo driver then through 10:15 to start his lap. There's a flag in sector 1, but I think it's just drivers slowing down. It was an Alpine, potentially. Hartman still hasn't come out of the pits yet. I don't know if he's got a quali ban, maybe? That's the only reason I can think of anyways. Right, and let's see Scarlo, currently on provisional pole by just under a tenth of a second. Victor has not, and Victor is... I've just seen is retired in the pits. Full of monkeys, that's enough for him. So he'll start 9th at best. Victor will not be doing another lap. So he won't be able to challenge Scarlo for pole here. So it'll be Greenwell and potentially his teammate who could challenge him, but he needs to find 7 attempts, which is a lot of time to find. Scarlo then down the back straight on the approach to turn 11. There is the checkered flag, so 5 drivers won't be improving. Whitson's just gone third fastest, ahead of his teammate in the Williams. Oh, and he's backed off as Scarlo. Now what's happened here? He didn't invalidate. Something seems to have happened. Catastrophic doesn't improve, stays 4th fastest. Rusty Oil Can is not improving either. Fures is massively improving. Gravel Trap improving as well. Let's see what Fures is. Oh, and this is a much better lap by Fures here. Fures could be challenging. Not sure, depending on what this final sector is. This could be a pole challenge potentially, but best lap was on mediums. Wasn't, again, a little untidy on turn 15, but goes third fastest. That's a good quali session for the Alfa Romeo, and Gravel Trap cross the line to finish 11th. So, Scarlett then takes pole position by a tenth from Victor. Fures for Aston Martin, third, ahead of Whitson. Catastrophic. Greenwell in 6th. You got John BCFC, who will start on the medium tyres in 7th. Not a bad quali. And then Marshall, 8th place for Haas. Oil Can in 9th, and Full and Monkeys completes the top 10. It for the Red Bull, and then you've got Gravel Trap in P11. Sinful P12 had a pretty messy qualifying run. Hartmann, who didn't set a lap time in qualifying, and Luke 14 Knock, who retired in that qualifying session after hitting the wall on the exit of turn 11. So that is your top 14. We will see how this goes. A lot of unexpectations to happen potentially in this race. We know for sure John BCFC will be starting on the medium tyres in 7th. Again, I wonder how that will play out. There is a significant degradation on the tyres on this track. Of course, you do have English will come to me. You do have a huge tyre degradation, so expect the soft runners to be in incredibly early. It'll be amazing if they can stick out for a one-stop strategy. They might need an early safety car potentially, because it's very likely they'll be on a two-stop strategy. But it is that question: do they want pure pace? And that, of course, comes from having a two-stop strategy, going from softs to two sets of mediums, or do they try soft to hard tyres potentially? So it's track position versus raw pace, really, as we head into this Grand Prix. But we will see what the others do. The question is, of course, what will the four who start outside the top 10 do? Top 10 do. Try saying that 5 times faster. Because, of course, they will have the free choice of tyres. Expect them to probably stay away from the soft tyres because, like I said, they will degrade very quickly. Even new ones will degrade fairly quickly. So, away we go then for the formation lap, and I can tell you, yep, as expected, everyone who has a free choice of tyres have gone for the medium set of tyres. John BCFC, the only one in the top 10 who qualified on mediums. The rest are on soft tyres as well. 14 drivers. We do not have a Mercedes in this race. We do not have... Who else are we missing? We're missing a Ferrari as well, I think. Those teams actually scored points. Yeah. I know Mercedes definitely haven't. Williams has not. For sure. No, they have. I'm just really silly, aren't I? I'm just really silly. Why am I... Am I thinking of a different division? Ignore me. Oh no, Mercedes haven't scored. I don't think. I don't know. I don't think they do. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I am. I don't know. But Scarlo might want to back the pack up slightly here. He is a little too far ahead of the field. Actually, the top 3 are massively gapped to Whitson behind. And there's a bigger gap to the other Williams of Greenwell as well. So Scarlo might want to consider backing the pack up here, as he'll be sitting on the grid for a while, and that can obviously drop your temperatures significantly. That can have an effect on your braking. I think someone's had a spin actually, and that is ISRL Hartmann, who spun on his way to the grid. It does happen a lot more oftenly than you think in Formula 1. You can see then Scarlo lining his Alfa Romeo onto pole position on the clean side of the track. And we are waiting for Luke 14 Knock to complete the lineup as he slots the Haas onto the back of the field. Right then. Okay, that's all 14 cars then lined up. We are waiting for the lights. Here we go then. 5 lights. And away we go then for the Bahrain Grand Prix. And it looks like Victor got a better start slightly. as they approach into turn 1, and the Alpine is ahead, and contact between the Haas of the Alfa Romeo of Scala was hit by the Philip Marshall there, but Fures moves up, so Victor takes the lead. Fures going wheel to wheel there with Whitson around and ahead of the Williams driver. Whitson up into 3rd place. Sinful losing places as well to Hartmann. Hartmann up into 10th place. Catastrophic has lost place as well. Horrid start then for Alfa Romeo. Fallen Monkeys ahead then of the Red Bull. But that is the worst case scenario for the Alfa Romeo team. That's the best start for Victor as he heads into turn 1. Not turn 1, turn 10. He leads the opening lap of this race from Michael Fures. Then Whitson in 3rd, pressurising the Aston Martin as much as possible there. And Scarlo ahead of Hartmann then as he recovers his way up the field. Has got his teammate now to get ahead of and the championship leader. But what a dreadful start for us, for Alfa Romeo in their attempt. Philip Marshall has got a penalty, presumably for that contact, I can imagine. But Victor then across the line, looking very, very comfortable out in front with the Alpine. It's a situation that Alpine has been in, and there is Whitson on Michael Fures going down the inside of the there, but Fures is going to fight back here and reclaims 2nd place. It's a shame the camera angles didn't make that look so good, but that's my fault there. Philip Marshall pits then, presumably damage. We did see a bit of contact, and there Fallen Monkeys trying to get ahead of Scala there. Catastrophic. Oh, and Luke 14 not struggling again. We saw with the rear in qualifying, he was struggling for rear grip. He is on medium tyres actually. Good starting actually from him. How many positions? Yeah, he gained 7th place at the start, so great start there for the Haas driver. Now he's got a tough job to keep the Alfa Romeo behind him, goes off the track, and that's just allowed Scarlo through, and Scarlo now fancies taking on the Haas as well. And Luke 14 not as a breaks a bit later, but sadly goes a bit too deeper, and Scarlo says thank you very much, I'll take 7th place off you. So great stuff there by Scarlo as he recovers after being hit by Philip Marshall. The Victor leads then by 1.7 seconds. What a performance so far for the Alpine driver. DRS not in, well, it is enabled this lap, but they won't be able to use it. Here comes Whitson again on Fures, goes down the inside and once again just tries to come back. Has he got the position ahead? Not this time. And Fures just keeps his nose in, and they do touch there, I think. And Fures, they're going wheel to wheel down the back straight. Now Whitson has the DRS to keep him ahead, but will he be able to hold it out? And yes, he does. And out the race then goes Luke 14 knock, and a miserable qualifying and a miserable Grand Prix as well. And that is the end for the Haas driver on lap 3 after such a good start as well. Gained 7 places, and it is in the barrier in turn 3. What a shame. But looks like there's going to be no safety cars, virtual safety car. Rusty oil can there, you can see, keeping Greenwell Army behind. And Greenwell Army smacks into the back of the McLaren, and we've got a virtual safety car. So the race has been neutralised. Will any of the drivers choose to pit? We've got Greenwell Army who gets a 5-second time penalty for going into the back of Rusty Oil Can. Not the start that they all would have wanted. Luke 14 knock leaves the session. Miserable, miserable weekend for Haas. So will any of the drivers take the incentive to pit here whilst the VSC is out? Let's have a look. Victor, I thought fall about it there, but looks like none of them pitting just yet. And Gravel Trap gets a drive-through penalty for speeding under the virtual safety car. But we are back underway with racing again. I think Whitson might have just got the jump here as Greenwell Army does pit, I believe with front wing damage. Gravel Trap does exactly the same. I think Whitson might have just... Well, Whitson now ahead of Fures. Might mean he can start to put some pressure here on the Alpine. He is closing on there. John BCFC up into 4th place as well. Remember, of course, starting on the medium tyres. As going wide there was Fures. That might get him a warning. 3 warnings gets you a penalty. 3 second time penalty to be more precise. Alfa Romeo's running 6th and 7th, line of Sterling for them. Catastrophic really hasn't got a lot of pace at the moment, unfortunately. I wonder if he does have damage. You can see Fallen Monkeys behind him. He does have DRS, but not in a position to attack just yet. And Whitson, you can see they're quickest in the middle sector, is now within DRS range of the Alpine of Victor. Is Victor vulnerable here? He had a pretty commanding opening few laps until Whitson passed Fures. Now suddenly, you can see their fastest lap there for Whitson as Fures pits, so that's an undercut attempt then from the Aston Martin driver. Scarlo has set the fastest lap of this race now, significantly quicker than what Whitson's fastest lap was. Here comes the Williams driver, a couple of car lengths too far back to take on the Alpine. Keep your eye on Fures though, that might trigger a few cars to react to that. We'll see what his pace is on those medium tyres. And he's in nice clear air as well. is Fures to try and get himself in a position where he could potentially undercut either Whitson or Victor here. So we will see, and you can see John BCFC in the background as well. A couple of 3 seconds back. He'll be watching this battle with intensity. If the more they scrap, the more he'll close in on them. Does Whitson here potentially go for an early undercut attempt then? Might not need to. You can see how close he gets, but backs off here, waits for the better opportunity down into turn 1. And Victor, well, that was pretty clever there, pretty cheeky as well, as moved one way, moved another way, and decided in the end he is going to pit. So we'll see where that goes. Scarlo once again sets the fastest lap of this race. Good pace from the Alfa Romeo at the moment. Rusty Oil Can pits again. Well, no, that wasn't. That's his first pit stop, apologies. It's his teammate who does. Right. And I'm going to watch Victor here, because where does he come out in retrospect to the Aston Martin? And he's a long way clear of the Aston Martin, actually. So under no threat at all here. And now it's a question of what does Whitson do here? Because Whitson, well, he can't go for the undercut attempt because that didn't... Victor's now pitted, so what does Whitson do now? Does he hold out? Does he continue to keep going here? You can see John BCFC is closing in on the Williams driver as well. Gap down to 2.6 seconds between them. Fallen Monkeys is getting very close to catastrophic here. Not close enough to go for an overtake just yet. Top 7 yet to pit, as is Gravel Truck as well. So we'll see what happens here. Whitson, is he going to pit in response to that? He is going to stay out, so interesting here by Whitson. So he's on an alternate strategy. Potentially. Let's see if Fallen Monkeys here can make a move on Catastrophic, the championship leader. He's going to get close. He's going to go for a move. Not quite yet. Catastrophic does go a little deep into turn 1. Fallen Monkeys isn't able to capitalise on that just yet. And he'll have to wait for another opportunity. So I wonder what Whitson's plan is then, because he's going to extend this stint. But he is losing time here because you can see John BCFC has closed that gap further now. Gap down to 2 seconds as Gravel Trap gets, well, is he ahead of the Williams driver? Not quite. Greenwell Army on fresh hard tyres. Gravel Trap still yet to make a pit stop here, and the Williams driver ahead of the McLaren. That gap is further dropping at the front now. Gap now down to 1.5, so Whitson's losing pace here. Will he now go for... Will he make that pit stop, or will he choose to continue to hold out here? And he does pit. He realises that he's losing just a little bit of too much time here. So, let's see what tyre he goes on to here. I'm intrigued to see what he chooses to do. I don't think he'll regain the lead of this race. I think Whitson... sorry, not Whitson. Victor will have that back. I'm going to medium tyres, so potential 2-stop here. Catastrophic pits as well. So that's to protect himself from the undercut. And there is... Where is Victor? And that is Whitson, and Whitson is ahead of Victor. So it wasn't the undercut that worked, that's the overcut then. So Whitson, by staying out longer, is ahead of the Alpine driver. So the overcut was the one that worked. So interesting. But Victor needs to get ahead of Sinful as quickly as he can here, because he needs to get back onto the clutches of Whitson here. And this is not what he needs, and much better traction than from the Alpine on the Red Bull. And oh, now was there contact between, and I'm pretty sure there was. Sinful gets caught there, and well, he's lost the place there to Fures, but wonder what happened there between those two. So top 4 then yet to pit, along with Sinful, along with Gravel Trap as well. It's John BCFC who leads this race. Started on those medium tyres, so we'll see what his pace is. And at the moment, I think very nicely in first place at the moment. Scarlo 5.7 seconds behind. And he got Fallen Monkeys a full further 6.6 seconds back. So we'll be interested to see if after what happened with Whitson and Victor, this Fallen Monkey is going to extend his stint and potentially have a pop at overcutting Catastrophic, maybe. Right. Rusty Oil Can has got Sinful behind him. Sorry, ahead of him. That looked like a very straightforward pass there for Oil Can. Just had so much more grip around the outside. And Sinful really couldn't do anything about it there. It's a fairly straightforward move. Not many battles going on at the moment. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 3. And that is for Sinful, who spun on the exit of Turn 4 and spins again. You've got to be so careful when you come back on and, not just putting the throttle down because the tyres have overheated. You've got to be super careful on how you play this. So where did these two soft runners pit then for Scala and Fallen Monkeys? Do they... That's the next question. Whitson has got to get past this. Well, he was stuck behind one Alpine once a little bit. Now he's got a second one to deal with, and that's ISRL Hartman. Hartman could be doing his teammate a massive favour here by holding the Williams driver up. And both of those soft runners, as I inquired, they've both decided to pit now, so both will be on mediums. Hartman slightly weaving there, but this is a fairly straightforward pass here for Whitson. Gets ahead of Hartman and up into second place then. And I don't suspect Victor will have a much more difficult time getting past Whitson. Whitson giving a little bit of a check there just to confirm that he's there. Okay, I thought he was going to come back potentially on... Hartman was going to come back on Whitson, apologies. So, where is the closest battle then? They're kind of all pretty spaced out. This is the closest gap at the moment. So, the question then is, how long does John BCFC stay out for? And more specifically, what tyre does he go for? Does he go for the hard tyres and go for a one-stop strategy, or does he try a two-stop? Potentially. We'll see what he does. Harman's still got DRS on Whitson, but I don't think that's going to last for too long. Whitson's just got such more grip, especially around these prolonged corners of turns 12 and 13 and into turn 14. You can see the back end just slightly stepping out there for the Alpine. Won't get DRS. We did see, by the way, I believe it was Fures, who got a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. So, not ideal, but we shall see. Meanwhile, John BCFC having a comfortable time out in front, although he hasn't pitted yet. With Whitson having 8-lap fresher tyres, you can see that gap dropping fairly significantly between first and second place at the moment, dropping down to 19.4. It's unlikely John BCFC will overcut Whitson at this moment in time, but of course he'll have fresher tyres when he does pit. If he can keep this up. They're all very spaced out here at the moment. Fures catching up to Victor, dropping that gap fairly significantly. Victor trying to catch up to his teammate actually. See Scarlo in the back, further 2 seconds back as well. They're all spaced out for the time being, it seems. Fures is though closing in on Victor fairly quickly. I'm surprised Victor's not catching up to his teammate that quickly either. But Fures then does have a lap older tyres than Victor, but working his way up there. Gap down to 1.2. Not within DRS range just yet. It might be in the next few closing stages. This is the closest gap between closest gap on the field actually. It's the closest battle we've got, and Scarlo sets the fastest lap, and there is Rusty Oil Can on the final corner. Looks like he's just lost the back end potentially, and I think he's lost an end plate as well. You can see the left hand side of that front wing is damaged, and into the pits he goes and gets a 5-second time penalty just to add to his troubles. McLaren not having the best of days at the moment, it seems. On go the hard compound tyres, and that will go on to the rest of the race. The rest of the race? The rest of the race. Meanwhile, that gap slowly closing in between Whitson and John BCFC, down to 19.2 now. It's beginning to come down, so Victor is almost within DRS range of his teammate. I was wondering how long it was going to be before that would happen, but looks like it's not too far away. Remember, of course, Hartman technically has made a pit stop. Or is he? No, he hasn't. He has not made a pit stop. Apologies. So Hartman, this really isn't his fight for Hartman. Hartman does not need to fight his teammate here. There's no point those two tripping up over each other. Doesn't help Hartman in the slightest. So let's see then what Victor... Is he close enough? Is he close enough? Not quite yet. Does slightly... broke slightly a little too deep there. Got to be careful of Fures behind as well. And I think Hartman's just going to give him the position and does so. So that's a fairly easy swap there. That's a very good swap as well, because they've kept Fures out of the way as well. And meanwhile, Fures is under pressure from Scarlo here, so Hartman's job now will be to try and hold up these two. And that is, as I was saying, that Fures has lost it. Or did he have contact with Scarlo, maybe? They were fairly close, but we didn't see. Scarlo's pushing the Alfa Romeo. But that's a huge shame for Fures. Fures are damaged, and we'll have to pit again. Hartman is absolutely trying to defend with all his might, but with just that much more grip, Scarlo can just cleanly go around the outside and take 4th place from him. But good effort there by Hartman, and good attack there by Scarlo. And now he sets his sight there on Victor. Scarlo's had having very good pace at the moment. So John BCFC at the moment, maintaining that 19-second gap to Whitson, which is absolutely significant. There is Catastrophic on Fures. Fures, of course, that damaged front wing will need to pit anyways. That's a huge shame for Fures. As Hartman, meanwhile, now chooses his moment to pit, and that is hard compound tyres. So that's a one-stop strategy until the end of this race. Fures pits then for a new front wing and new tyres as well. So Scarlo's next target then is Victor, and he is rapidly closing in. Victor pitted on lap 7, Scarlo pitted on lap 11. The benefits are paying off for those fresher tyres. Be interesting to see whether how long these tyres go to. Surely they don't go to the end of this race. You wouldn't think so. So you've got to imagine there's another stop for both these drivers. John BCFC has got another pit stop coming his way, but at the moment his pace is that good. He could probably keep going for a bit longer. Because Whitson at the moment hasn't really got an answer for that level of that pace at the moment. Still, the gap remains at 19 seconds. Scarlo then lining Victor up for a pass down this back straight. And this looks very, very easy for the Alfa Romeo. And yeah, probably the most straightforward move so far, and up into the podium places. Hartman has got a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Victor still has the DRS, but as you can see there, not a lot of battery to play with. You can't really challenge then here on this one. Here comes Greenwell Army, trying to get ahead of ISRL Hartman, and does so, up into 7th place. You might be wondering how on earth Greenwell is still ahead of Hartman despite not having enough tyres. I'll explain that in a second. And they're going to come back in turn 4, and Hartman, I think, tried to come back there on the inside of turn 4 and paid the price for it. I think that was a little bit. I think that was he was driving into a gap that was always going to shut on him, to be honest with you. Meanwhile, Whitson's dropped that, taken half a second now out of John BCFC. So starting to come back, and I wonder if John's tyres are starting to go here potentially. But and that was a Red Bull there. That was the yellow flag, but it didn't look he spun. I think he just was slow. Was just very slow. But I explain why Greenwell was able to still stay ahead of Hartman despite having 10 lap older tyres. Hartman just didn't have the temperature in the tyres, so he didn't have the optimal grip. So he needed a couple more laps to generate that temperature. So I think if he left it for another couple of laps, or at least another lap, he might have come back there. But Hartman is still in 8th place, but has lost a bit of time. So we'll need to gather himself or herself and come back on this. And we've got, I think, yes it is, that is the Ferrari of John BCFC, who's had a spin, who had led this Bahrain Grand Prix, had very consistent pace, and on the exit of turn 13 has had a spin. Now you can see Sinful and lapping themselves. And that 18-second gap that once was there has now dropped to 7.5 seconds. So John BCFC wanted to have a chance of winning this race. Well, that might have not helped his chances here. And he's going to have some very overheated tyres, and he might just start to struggle for grip now. That's a mistake he did not need to make there. Did the Ferrari into turn 13. See how that all plays out and where that puts him. I think at the moment, if he was to pit now, he'd come out in 4th place. And BCFC has now got a time penalty to add for his troubles as well. Spin has really hurts there, but still 12 laps to go. Still hasn't made a pit stop. He's the only driver at the moment yet to make a stop at the moment. Is John BCFC. And that gap has come down even further, actually. Whitson's just taken a 1.8 seconds out in that, well, first half of this lap. So John BCFC is struggling for grip now all of a sudden. I think now is the perfect time to make a pit stop, if he can. Keeping an eye on this battle here. This is Philip Marshall on rusty oil can. And 3 lap fresher tyres for the Haas driver. And gets ahead of the McLaren and up into the top 10. And that gap is further dropping here. I think John BCFC's tyres are massively gone here. You can see a lack of grip there. And he does make a pit stop. And that might explain why as well, because he's got end plate damage as well. Huge shame for him. Definitely could have been up there for a potential race win. You can see the front wing being changed as well. Let's see where he comes out. Where's Catastrophic? Catastrophic does come ahead, as does All the Monkeys. So John BCFC is going to drop. Where's he going to drop down to? Will he stay ahead? No, he won't. He will come out in 6th place at the moment, but on soft tyres, so it's still a bit of work to do, but definitely can make something happen here. Whitson then leads this Grand Prix as Sinful gets out of the way. We appreciate good blue flag drivers who can obeyed by blue flags. But Whitson leads by 3.1 seconds then from Scarlo. Now a question, I mean, Whitson's done 9 laps at the moment. Could you potentially do 19 lap on medium tyres maybe? John BCFC did 16. Speaking of John BCFC, he's just got ahead of Fallen Monkeys now and up into 5th place. So the next one for him will be Catastrophic. He's a further 3.4 seconds away. Can Scarlo potentially combat against Whitson here? Be an interesting tyre situation, but at the moment it's all very much spread apart on this track. A real close fights at the moment. Keep your eye on Catastrophic, because he's going to have a Ferrari on his gearbox very soon. John BCFC 2.7 seconds back. Made that 2.2 actually, as on the Alfa Romeo. Just superior grip at the moment on his soft tyres, but it's a question of whether or not he can take those to the end of the race. I get the feel the answer is yes. How much time can he make back on this as well? At the moment, this is working wonders for Victor at the moment. Victor, of course, is 3rd in the Drivers' Championship at the moment. I'd love to score as many points as possible, really, to try and close that gap up to Catastrophic. And Whitson pits. So Whitson and Scarlo pits as well. So they're both not taking the gamble to try and hold these until the end of this race. And that's soft tyres for both of them. Now this will be interesting here. What does Catastrophic do? There's John BCFC. Catastrophic pits then as well. Is John BCFC going to get ahead here? Let's watch and see. There is Victor. Oh, sorry, that's Whitson, apologies. And John BCFC, despite having his front wing damage, has successfully stayed ahead of Whitson, but he has a 3-second time penalty on him, and his I thought he would have stayed ahead, but not only did he run wide here and does make contact and gets a 3-second time penalty, he then loses out to Whitson. Whitson back up into second place there. And that leaves Victor. Victor surely won't be going to the end of this race on those medium tyres. Might need a safety car for that to happen. And now Scarlo will be looking to get ahead of the Ferrari. And that shows you how powerful the undercut can be. John BCFC is really struggling for grip here. And he is well clear. Is Scarlo on John BCFC. Suddenly, the Ferrari seems to be struggling. He's going wide in every corner. Has he got... yes, he has. He's got damage. No, he hasn't. No, he hasn't. Apologies. No damage, it seems. I thought I couldn't see an end plate on the left-hand side again, but struggling for grip. He is pitting. Has he got front wing damage? Perhaps. And Scarlo, meanwhile, is having a look here on Whitson. Just a little too far back, but Whitson gives him a bit more space. And now here's the question. And they go up the back straight here. And round the outside. And Scarlo takes over second place here. And Scarlo, showing the level of pace that he has, moves up into second place, which you imagine will be the net lead of this race once Victor makes his stop. Fures gets another 3-second time penalty as he looks at the back of Catastrophic. Catastrophic did pit for medium tyres, interestingly enough. Didn't pit for the soft tyres like his teammate did. He'll be looking to try and make as much room as possible. Next one for him will be Hartman. And potentially Fallen Monkeys, who's another 14 seconds up the road. This is not the weekend at the moment that Catastrophic might have wanted, because at the moment his two closest rivals in the championship are both going to score points on him. Scarlo is 8.6 seconds back on Victor. Will that be enough? And will Victor go to the end of this race? Scarlo did as well set the fastest lap of this race. And Whitson is still keeping within DRS range here. So Scarlo's got to watch his mirrors here and make sure this the Williams behind him doesn't get any ideas. Whitson goes quickest in the first sector, and that's presumably because of the slipstream he's gained from Scarlo, plus the DRS. There's a lapped McLaren behind him. That's probably gravel trap, I presume. Scarlo is absolutely taking massive chunks of time out of Victor, though, so Victor surely might consider a pit stop anyways. If he does pit, he will come back out of this race behind, I imagine, Fallen Monkeys, it seems. It's a question of whether or not Fallen Monkeys also makes a pit stop here. Catastrophic trying to get ahead of Hartman. And Whitson will have DRS here on Scarlo. Gains slowly but surely, but I think too far back to make a move here. The gap between the top two is now down to 5.7. Scarlo takes a lot of curb there out of turn 3. Nothing wrong with it. And Whitson once again just a little too far back. Here goes Catastrophic on ISRL Hartman. And that's a fairly straightforward move again for the Alfa Romeo driver. And up into 5th place for himself. saw John BCFC set the fastest lap of this race. Fresh tyres, fresh pace. Would have been a shame to see where he is again. And there is Scarlo, I think, lapping there the Red Bull of Sinful yet again. Gap now is down to 3.4 seconds, so Victor's struggling for tyres at the moment. This could be where his struggle lies, but losing a lot of time to the cars behind, as you can imagine. 16 lap mediums against 2 lap soft tyres usually ends only one way. Whitson's still in DRS of Scarlo as well. We've got a yellow flag, and that is for John BCFC again. That's on the exit of turn 13. I wonder if he's caught that curb. Maybe that's why he's spinning out often. That's twice now he's had that spin. It's really hurting his race, to be honest. The Aston Martin of Fures eyes up the Alpine of ISRL Hartmann. A lock up there for Hartmann slightly, and well, Fures loses the back end of his car. You can't really capitalise on that. Hartmann's still got DRS on Catastrophic. And meanwhile, as we mentioned that, Victor is under pressure here from the Alfa Romeo of Scarlo here, as we thought we would. And it doesn't even need to wait to the back straight at the moment, because you can see the level of the difference in grip at the moment. But Scarlo wants to wait until the back straight, where he can utilise the DRS here. And I think Victor's pitting anyways. So Scarlo takes the lead of this race. And crucially for him, he gets DRS to keep Whitson behind here. So we've got a battle for the lead here. Sinful gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. And now Scarlo needs to pull away and get Whitson out of his DRS here. And crucially not pick up any time penalties for the time being. Victor will come out behind Fallen Monkeys here. But crucially for him, they're both ahead of Catastrophic. And Scarlo has just had a moment. Now what has happened there? We always miss the good moments, don't we? And Scarlo, who just took the lead of the race, finds himself back down in second place. Did he make an error? Was there contact between himself and Whitson, perhaps? Take a look. It's Whitson's front wing, looks intact. Is there contact between the two? Was it just an error from Scarlo? We'll have to find out. Fallen Monkey's still in third place on 14 lap old medium tyres. We've got a yellow flag in the sector 2 again. Quite sure why. About to say, Fallen Monkey's podium place at the moment isn't so safe, because Victor on fresh soft tyres is closing up rapidly behind him. There is Michael Fures trying to put pressure here on Catastrophic. Catastrophic really is struggling to pull away here from these drivers. So on the back we go. John BCFC gets another time penalty. Multiple warnings. It's a shame for the Ferrari driver, because he looks so strong. It sadly has not ended up the way he wanted to. Let's watch Fures then. Has he got enough space to go for a move into turn 1? Not quite. Catastrophic locks up, goes deep. And can Fures this time capitalise on this lock-up? That's a much better exit. And with DRS, can he go round the outside? He does think about it, but Catastrophic just about holds on to that 5th place. Scarlo now have a 3-second time penalty. And we missed, by the way, the battle for the podium, because Victor just got ahead of Fallen Monkeys Apologies for missing that. There's so much that happens. But Victor reclaims that podium place, and Fallen Monkeys down drops into 4th place. And crucially, Fallen Monkeys will hope this race ends a lot sooner. Now, who's that? Who's had a spin in turn 13? And that's Gravel Trap. And you can see the debris there from his front wing. He tries to get back onto the track. John BCFC. I think Hartman's just had a moment as well, because he's just dropped back massively. We're all struggling towards the final closing stages of this race. 3 laps to go now for Whitson. Remember, Williams, of course, have not scored points so far this season. And at the moment, they're in course for not only a win, but a double points finish. Gravel Trap pits then for a new front wing. Furious is coming back here on Catastrophic, and he's going to go for a move down the inside. Catastrophic gives him the room here. And has he got the high ground? Not quite. Catastrophic again just holds him around and remains in 5th place. Good scrap between these two. Furious, of course, has got a 3-second time penalty anyways coming his way. And there's John BCFC having a close up at the moment on the pair of them, potentially capitalise them. See there the penalties, that's 9 seconds worth of penalties though. I don't think he's going to be able to take advantage, even if he does get the head. Huge shame for John BCFC, because I thought his pace was super good in the first stages. It's just really fallen apart there. Gravel Trap's got a time penalty. Furious then having a look once again on the Alfa Romeo. It's down the back straight where Catastrophic keeps the battery, but I don't think he's going to be able to hold this one for much longer. And there goes Furious on Catastrophic and up into 6th place. Might be down to 7th. There's John BCFC having a look as well. And that's a much better exit for the Ferrari. Much better grip. And then you can see as round the outside goes the Ferrari on the Alfa Romeo. And Catastrophic's race goes from bad to worse. Drops to 7th. John BCFC moves up to 6th. But like I mentioned, the 3 ahead have got time penalties, so they may not be staying there for so long. And now John BCFC are going to get ahead of the Aston Martin of Furious. This might be a bit more of a straightforward move here. And that's a fairly straightforward move there for the Ferrari driver. But, Furious went to try and fight back round the outside and got a tag for it. And Catastrophic went straight into him for good measure. That's not what he needed. Furious drops down to 9th place at the moment. What a shame for him. And whilst that's all happening, Whitson starts the last lap of this race. He's had 2 retirements in the last races. Williams have yet to score points. And it could still... Well, I'm not saying anything. Commentator's curse exists. But phenomenal drive here by Whitson. I don't know what happened between himself and Scarlo, although Scarlo is closing back in on him. But I think it's going to be a little too late for Scarlo to go for a move here, unless Whitson makes a mistake here. But Whitson is hoping these next few corners comes a bit too quickly. Scarlo is rapidly closing in on him in these last few stages, but Scarlo's going to run out of laps here to capitalise. Whitson has got one more corner to go. Turn 15. As he crosses the line, Williams will be delighted for these points, as it's Whitson who crosses the line to take the win in Bahrain. Scarlo comes home to take 2nd place. Victor will come home for third for Alpine. A long way back from the top two. But a great win for Whitson. Williams' first points for Division 4. Victor crossed the line to take that final podium place. Fallen Monkeys does make those tyres last until the end of the race, and fair play to him. John BCFC, despite the difficulties, actually will come home to finish in 5th place potentially, but Catastrophic just about keeps Greenwell Army behind on the line and takes 5th place for good measure as a result of John BCFC's penalties. Hartman in 7th. Greenwell Army drops down to 8th as a result of his penalties. Fiore's in 9th. Marshall 10th. Rusty Oil Can will finish in 11th. Sinful, a lap down in 12th. Gravel Trap will finish in 13th as well. But that was a good solid drive from all of them. At times we were waiting for something, and was absolute, but a good couple of final battles there. So Whitson, first win, first points for Williams, as I mentioned. And there is your driver of the day, Fallen Monkeys, who I believe, with Catastrophic falling down the field, both himself and Victor gain in the championship. Catastrophic may not be too happy with the results as he loses points and loses ground in his championship lead. But overall, not a happy weekend for the top three. Scarlo, whether or not that was a driver error, whether there was contact between himself and Whitson, he might be unhappy, potentially losing the win as he did. But here is the final standings then. So Whitson, P1, ahead of Scarlo. Victor in 3rd. Fallen Monkeys, P4. Catastrophic, P5. John BCFC, 6th place plus fastest lap as well towards the end after a pretty chaotic race for him. Hartman in 7th. Fures in 8th. Greenwell Army in 9th. Philip Marshall in 10th. Then we've got Rusty Oil Can in 11th ahead of Sinful, Gravel Trap, and Luke 14 Knock, the only driver who retired on lap 3 after spinning in turn 4. But that's it, folks. That is the end of this race here in Bahrain. The next round will be in the Circuit of the Americas for the United States Grand Prix. Division 4 will be back at 4 p.m. in the UK or 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It'll be the final race before the next break, so a lot of drivers will be hoping to gain some time. But thank you as always for tuning in as always. Apologies that the title was slightly wrong, but we worked with it, and we will be back again next week for round 9 in the Circuit of the Americas. Thanks, guys. Take care.